All right, guys. So Isis Morales, this woman, she married a monster. She posted a video about it and went extremely viral. Shout out to Hardly Initiated. They went live with her just last night, and if you didn't catch it, I mean, it was a good live. They actually had a doctor on there by the name of Dr. Spirit who came on to speak with her, this young lady Isis. And I think the Dr. Spirit, I think she did a great job. But it was just interesting to me. I hadn't watched the original video that she did. I had just been hearing about it, seeing clips, but I seen how she behaved on Hardly Initiated. And me, along with a bunch of other people in that live chat, think something's a little off with this. Now, I'm not judging her. And for anybody who may be going through something similar or have gone through something similar, I apologize. There's no room for that. There's no justification for it. It's a terrible thing. We're going to check out that video together, the original one. But before we do that, I want you to watch and listen to some of the things that she was saying on Hardly Initiated. She was speaking to that Dr. Spirit. And when she was on Hardly Initiated, I felt like her emotions were scheduled, if you will. They were rehearsed. The sound of trying to constantly sound heavy with emotion. Like I said, I didn't want to judge too much because I didn't know too much about her situation. But for a professional doctor to come on a live with you and talk to her about this, and she not take the advice, she had much so of an attitude, and her whole stance pretty much the entire time was, I'm doing what God told me to do. Now, I don't know if how true that is, if God told her to do it, no one will ever really know. People use and say that all the time. We don't really know. But what you're about to see, the Hardly Initiated clip, is her response indirectly. And just from this response, this is like the ending. They're getting ready to end this all. Just from her response, her closing statement, if you will, you can tell, man, that I don't know. It just doesn't seem to me like someone, like this is the behavior of someone who is really seeking help from someone who's really been in a crisis. Let's get into this.
I did this for the victims. And when I saw the victims in my comments that said my mom never believed me, even if it was just one comment, but it was so many, I knew I did the right thing. I knew putting the video out was the right thing. God has shown me over and over that this has been the right thing. And for everybody who wants to say, I need to take a break, please write me a check for me to take a break from taking care of my children.
Because she's getting money supposedly from a lot of resources. So people are concerned and they're saying, hey, if someone's going through something this tragic of what she went through, and I believe this monster that she married did some things that are they're really terrible. And we're going to get into it because we're going to watch that clip too. But I think the standpoint that people are coming from is like, bro, if you're really dealing with something like this, as serious as it is that you're making it out to be, instead of making this a viral moment, you should be wanting to recover, heal, work through this. And even if, and the doctor said it to her, Dr. Spirit on that live, she said it to her. She said, fine, if God said do this, great. You did it now. You did it. You already did what God said do. Congratulations. Now, step back, heal, work on the next stages that you need to work on as a mother with multiple children, so that way you can be good in the future. Her response is, write me a check. Money ain't everything. And as people are thinking that this whole thing was for money, you don't want that to be the response you have to the concerns of the people who have been donating. Yes, they've been donating money to her cause. Let's keep this going.
Please do. That's what I have to say about that. Okay? So I'm going to continue to show up. I'm going to continue to speak my truth. I'm going to continue to be obedient, because obedience is better than sacrifice. And I'm going to continue to do what I'm called to do, regardless of how anybody feels about it. Because God is using me, and I'm just here to do what he tells me to do. I'm going to continue to do so.
Is it you right now? Are you pretty much do you have full custody of your 5 babies?
Yes, through the protective order, I do. Yeah.
Man, whole protective order in place. But hey, you know, like I said, it seemed to me that there's obviously a lot going on, and we're about to get into that clip now. And I'm not going to judge it. I really just want to see, okay, what really happened here? Because just from the little bit of me just kind of, okay, you were in a bad relationship, you married a very, very, very terrible person, and because of marrying that terrible person, some really bad things took place. But on the aftermath of the virality of it all, and I'm not hating, but on the aftermath of the virality, like I said, me along with plenty of other people, just concerned and hoping that as we want someone who's going through this, as we all on the internet get emotionally invested, we want someone who's going through this to heal, to get better. But we also don't want to feel like we're being hoodwinked, and we don't want to feel like we're being taken for an emotional spin and being used and abused ourselves. Let's see what she had to say. This is the original video, ladies and gentlemen, where she's explaining in a short bit the video that went viral of what happened exactly that led her to be on the live with Hardly Initiated speaking to that doctor. Let's get into this.
Hi, trophies. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. If you hear any noise in the background, that's the new baby. A lot has happened since the last time that I recorded. I think the last time you guys saw me, I was in my second trimester, and yeah, I think I did post an update in the community section when the baby was born, and I said that I would be back soon. And that was a few months ago now. I thought that when I came back on here that it would be to maybe do like some kind of newborn favorites or meet my new baby or something like that. But unfortunately, it's been a little over a month since I had to end up leaving my husband. I honestly don't even really know where to start with this, just because it's just such a hard topic. And I honestly thought that by the time I got on here that I wouldn't have any tears left because I've just cried so much. It's like I built this channel and this whole brand around being this man's wife and trying to teach other women how to attract good men and provider men and all these different things. And I truly held my husband or saw him as the bar for what every woman should, type of man that, or type of husband that every woman should aspire to have. And I didn't realize that the person I married was actually going to be my biggest nightmare. So basically, when I first met my husband, as I've already talked about in another video, I think it was my single mom video, I explained, a little bit about how we met. And I really thought that that man was my Prince Charming. So when I first met my husband, I thought that he was my Prince Charming. I thought that he was my knight in shining armor, and he portrayed himself to be this amazing, upright, righteous Christian man. And I believed him. I think shortly after we got married, and this is something that I haven't talked about, I started noticing like certain things changed with him. And I just started to see a few things that I didn't like, but I honestly thought that some of these were things that I could get past.
This is my first time watching this with y'all, and I thought she was gonna be saying a lot more. I'm waiting for her to express just a little bit more in this, as far as kind of like what was happening with all the, I don't want to say the words because I don't want to get, in trouble for saying any of those words, but I want to know what happened with the whole situation as it pertains to the father and her and the whole family, everyone that was involved. But let's keep this going, y'all. Like I said, I'm watching this blindly with y'all because I really wanted a blind reaction to see what really happened and why didn't she receive the professional therapist's advice when she was on that live with Hardly Initiated. For someone to be in a tragic situation that she's claiming to have been in, why wouldn't she receive any help from someone that is professionally sound in that area? But let's see what else she has.
My first thought was, did someone touch her?
We got to go back some. I went a little too ahead. We missed something. Here we go.
I was changing my daughter, my 4-year-old daughter. And I noticed that when I changed her, she was red and very sensitive. And immediately my first thought was, did someone touch her? Oh God.
God.
That sucks, man.
So I asked her, I said, baby, did somebody touch you? And she ended up saying it was Daddy.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
I felt like my world ended.
Oh yeah, mine would have too. I'm gonna go ahead and end that there. Like I said, I if you want to watch the viral one, it's just titled "I Married a Monster." Isis Morales is the name of her channel. I couldn't. I'm not gonna finish that. That's tough. That's something very tough for anyone to go through. But it makes me question even more and just wonder even more, like, why didn't she take the advice from the therapist on that live with Hardly Initiated? She seemed like she was rejecting it, and the therapist was telling her, hey, take some time, maybe speak with someone, just now that you put it all out there, because that's a lot to put viral. Like, even me, I'm watching, I don't even want to watch it, y'all. That's a lot to put out there. That's a lot of, that's a lot to put, out in the public, and it's a lot to go through internally. So to have a licensed therapist at your disposal, possibly free of charge too, ready to help you there, and she wasn't taking her advice. Her whole thing was like, look, God told me to do this because I'm doing this to help other people. And it's like, we get that. Your story's out there, and your story's going to help other people to maybe just be aware, but helping other people to kind of just bring the story out, it's not going to help if you guys are still hurting or people are still being hurt by this stuff. Because like she said, that he's still free. I think maybe they have a protective order against him. But in that live with Hardly Initiated, she was saying that the father is still free. Like, he wasn't charged with anything. And she said that there's no case to look up, but I guess they're just in the queue. So I don't know. I'm not a professional body language reader or anything, but just from watching that live, I felt like when I was watching the doctor there, she kind of had some expressions on the face that kind of made her kind of give a professional, her professional radar was going off. And I think that maybe she was picking up on a few omissions, and maybe a few exaggerations, because it was what it's seeming to be, that this was a dangerous situation. And especially when there's danger for KIDSs, typically they act pretty aggressively on these things. So for something in that particular way to have not been, an aggressive thing, and the only information we know on it is kind of like just a short, 10-minute viral video, it made people have a lot of questions. Nevertheless, we're praying for her, man. No matter what, we're praying for her, and for anybody else who could be going through something similar, because it's tragic. I mean, it's so tragic, I didn't even want to hear the rest of it. So imagine how tragic it could be for the person who's actually having to live it, and the person who has actually lived through it. It's tough, man, but shout out to Hardly Initiated. Shout out to Dr. Spirit in that Hardly Initiated live. Shout out to them for those clips. And hey, like I said, just keep Isis in your prayers. Doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, well, I don't know. I can't say if it doesn't matter. Whether if there's truth to it or not. But at the end of the day, I would just say keep her up in our prayers, man. That's all I got for you guys on this one. To the next one, y'all. I'm out.